Hey everyone, I'm Daniel,
And then Maya.
and we are here tonight to play something different. Our first board game experience on the channel. It is Kingdom Death Monster. This is a tabletop campaign style board game which pits a group of survivors in a settlement against a cruel, horrifying, and unforgiving world. So this is a pretty expensive board game, but fortunately the company that makes the game has made this official simulator app so you could experience the game from the company in a really, really cool and interesting manner. So what we got here is this looks like a horror game. This isn't your typical horror game, but this is the simulator for the board game. You'll see what I mean in
I
just a
like
second.
the high ceilings. I
Yeah,
would totally
they
buy
they're
that
they're
place
doing
if
this
it was
whole like kind of spooky house theme experiment as part of the game experience
I
for
would
the
still
simulator.
buy this place if it's haunted.
Yeah.
You could get a lower price tag. Plus the fireplace is the best.
So this simulator app is also still in active development, so a lot of the features of what they planned are just not in there yet. But what we're going to do is that we're going to go through the experience of playing Kingdom Death Monster together, and you are welcome to join us in that experience.
Look
This is
at
a
that
1 to 4
fireplace.
player co-op campaign style board
Honey,
game.
show the fireplace. That's the cool.
Yeah. So this is the game room within the simulator. You could see the game here, right? And I'm sure there'll be all kinds of Easter eggs and whatnot as development continues. But
But
yeah,
show the fireplace.
it's there.
It's awesome.
Okay. All right. But as most games need a story, right? We want to experience the story of Kingdom Death. What does the story tell us? Why are we here? Who are we? And whatnot. Well, the first rule of Kingdom Death that we're going to talk about is this little icon right here. Maya can't see it on her screen, but the one that's in the stream right now is it looks like a storybook icon. And in fact, we've even turned this into an emote. Right? Isn't that cool? Well, so the rule with this game is that anytime you see this story event icon, you're to immediately stop what you're doing and go into the rulebook and read that particular story. So the way this works is that the game kicks off by telling us the first story. And to help us go through that first story experience, we're going to switch to the story app. Now, the story app is made, dang, the developer's name escapes the top of my head right now, but this is not made by the official community, by the official company, but it's made by a community member and has put together a really lovely way to share the story within the game. So, if you're ready, let me make sure that Maya switched over to. We'll
I
begin
will
the
be
story.
ready if you could pass me the cup of coffee over there that I put down, and now that they're kind of nesting around me.
1 sec.
I'm really sorry. They just decided to land me in a manner where where I can't move because yes, pretty girl, handsome boy.
Okay.
Yeah. I love you too.
Okay, so we're ready to experience the story of this game. Explains who we are, why we're here. Ready? Here we go.
Don't you dare.
Once upon a time, there was a place of carved stone faces. A man with a lantern lay sleeping a dreamless sleep. The man knew
Should have
nothing.
audio on this.
One day, the man woke up. He rubbed the dried ink caked over his eyes.
Yeah, but you don't need
and
to. You've
opened
heard
it.
this plenty of times.
Around him, he saw other people stirring. And beyond, a horizon of unbroken darkness. A woman approached the man with the lantern. Her soft hand reached out to him. They had no words. They were a mystery to each other. Suddenly, a monster emerged from the darkness, its eyes wild with hunger. It attacked. The people were no match for the monster.
Pretty brutal.
Their flesh and crushed their bones between its teeth. Some
Guys, how would you handle
it
yourself?
devoured whole.
I bet it's
Overcome with terror and grief, the man with the lantern collapsed to the ground. Cold stone noses pushed into his side. There was no escape. But the man did not want to die. Desperately grasping at the cold stone faces, he felt a crack and tore at it with all of his might. A piece of stone came free. It was sharp and deadly. The man with the lantern scrambled to his feet, his weapon clenched in his fist. He took a deep breath and roared into the darkness. Somewhere, in the place of stone faces, nameless men and women stand together. They have nothing but a need to survive, and a lantern to light their struggle.
Okay. So that's the story event called First Story. It kicks off the campaign for us. This is from a game turns perspective. This is a People of the Lantern 1.6 version campaign. All right, so the game has us go through the setup process of setting up the first fight against that monster from the first story known as the White Lion. Now, fortunately, let's switch back to the simulator app. Let's make sure Maya's viewing the same screen too, right? Fortunately, the simulator app gives us a really, really easy way to go about doing this. Now, before we can begin play, I've taken the liberty of setting up most of the things so that, like, as we progress through the game, we'll be able to easily get into the different aspects of the game. So the simulator app does a really, really good job so far at handling that. And as we come across mechanics, we'll explain it so that anyone who is new to the game will be able to learn relatively quickly. Okay, so from that first story, we see that we have 4 survivors that are going to face off against the White Lion. We have to go through the process of picking those 4 survivors and naming them, and they have the basic amount of gear from that first story, that foundation stone that was explained. Okay, so we have 6 character models here, and we need to pick 4 of them. 4 of them are going to face off against the White Lion. So which ones do you want to control?
I would like to control. I don't pick like one and like pick it random for me. I don't want to get attached.
Okay. So one thing about this game is that the story is about the settlement as a whole, not so much as individual survivors within the settlement. So unlike a campaign of, like, let's say D&D, you shouldn't get too attached to your survivors because they could easily die.
Or be maimed.
Okay, so let's go with 1 and...
Or be maimed in the most horrific way.
All right, so we'll give you these 2, and I'll control the bottom 2. And anyone who else is watching would like to take a turn, feel free to just chime up in chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
We will be glad to give you a control of a survivor if you like.
So when it comes to filling out character sheets, the process is relatively simple. We're going to need to give a name to each survivor. So what would you like to name your survivor? This was
Survivor
the theme.
1.
Survivor number
I'm not
1.
getting attached.
Okay. Now you can see here when you name your survivor, you gain +1 survival. Survival is a resource that survivors will have. It's a limited resource. It does not come back very easily, but it represents their raw determination and will to live against unforgiving odds. Now, right now, we could only spend a point of survival on a single action, dodge. Think of it like a dodge roll out of like a Soulsborne game. That's the kind of thing you could do with it right now. But as we progress in the campaign, there'll be new actions, survival actions, that each survivor will be able to do. The only other thing that we need to note here is that, for the most part, all we need to pay attention is to the movement speed, which is how many squares that you can move per turn, and this 1 point that's located at our waist. This is an armor value that's thanks in part to the armor that we are wearing right now. So we have 2 pieces of gear for each survivor, the foundation stone from the first story and a piece of cloth armor that just protects the groin area. Okay, so we've already annotated that. Let's now associate. Now here's the cool part with the simulator. I could assign that character sheet, and then I will assign this survivor. So now survivor 1 is ready. Okay, now the other one. Here's the next one.
Take a guess.
Give me a name.
Survivor 2. And
Okay.
then we could go with binary 1000.
All right, so same deal as before, but it's going to be easier now that we're not explaining all of the bits and pieces. We're going to assign this. Okay, Survivor 2 is ready. I will take... Figures-wise, they don't matter. They're exactly the same in terms of stats and whatnot. So We'll just place extra ones over here. All right, and so I'll go through the process of doing the same thing. I'll name a survivor. And let's call him Johann. Give him a point of survival for his name. Assign the character sheet. And assign the mini. And there we go, we got Johann. And for this survivor, let's call her Samantha. Assign the character sheet and assign the mini. Okay, so we have our 4 survivors ready to go. The only thing that we need to do in terms of setup for our first showdown with the White Lion is that each survivor needs to be exactly 6 squares away from the White Lion. Now it's 6 squares in cardinal directions, meaning that up, down, left, right. There's no diagonal movement within this game. Okay, so we are free to set up anywhere we want on the board, just so long as it is exactly 6 squares away. If we look back at the, maybe a little bit difficult to see on stream, but you could see this kind of like blue diamond in the story app. That's exactly the positioning that we need to have with our survivors. Okay, so where would you like to set up?
You said it's...
So it's advised that because the White Lion can move faster than us, well, not faster, but further than us, we should generally stay grouped together as we start off, because if we split up, it's going to take us turns to catch up to the White Lion. Okay, so let's just make things simple, like right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
But then nobody's gonna be in his eyesight. I mean,
The White Lion's going to go first anyways. So no one will be in the...
back area.
even if we set up behind here, he's just going to turn around and move towards us. Okay. So now that we're ready to begin, we're set up, we're ready to begin the showdown. Now, in the game, which is called Monster, Kingdom Death is like the universe. The actual game that we're playing is just called Monster, but often the community refers to it as Kingdom Death Monster to make it more accurate, I guess. In the game of Monster, monsters typically go first. And even though this is a campaign-style tabletop game, there isn't really a dungeon master like you would experience in, let's say, D&D. The way monsters act and are controlled, they're controlled by an AI deck, meaning that this deck of cards represents the actions that the monster will do. Okay? Now, every player will actually take turns controlling the monster and resolving the AI cards. So I'll start with me, and I'll nominate, let's say, Johann. There's a special rule with the monster controller. We'll get into that in just a moment and see if it actually works. Okay. So the way this works is that when the monster's turn comes around, we have to draw a monster card, an AI card.
Claw, pick a target.
And so we'll have to resolve this. And this is how we're going to resolve it. So the first part of an AI card is what's known as the pick target. This tells us how the monster is going to choose its target, right? And in this case, it has to fulfill, there's 3 lines here, meaning that it has to fulfill every condition in order for that to become the actual valid target. So the first line says closest threat facing in range.
Well, we have 4.
Right. So what that means is that closest threat, meaning that the person who is threatening a monster, as a side note, knockdown survivors are not considered threats. There's also other rules where they may not be considered threats. But anyone who can attack the monster is considered a threat. So closest threat, let's look at that again. Facing in range, meaning that the monster has to be facing that survivor, and in range meaning within range of its movement. That really means that all 4, because the monster can move 6 squares, we can only move 5. The monster can move 6 squares, it could reach all of us. Okay? So because all 4 of us qualify for that pick target, the monster controller, whoever that is, in case it's me, can choose which survivor gets attacked. If you nominate the survivor that gets attacked with this card, you get a little bonus out of it. So that's what we'll do. Okay, so we've picked our target. Coming back to the AI card, now that we've picked our target, it's going to be Johann. We're going to resolve this attack, which is move and attack target. Okay, the speed represents how many dice you roll as part of this attack. The accuracy means the number you have to roll or higher to hit your target. And the damage is how many points of damage would do per hit.
So unless it's 1, the monster hits
Right.
us.
So let's move our white lion forward. So it's going to move and attack. So it's going to move up to here. And it's going to attack Johann. So looking back at the attack profile, speed 2, accuracy 2, 1 damage. Means it's going to roll 2 dice.
Anything but 1.
Hey, Wind-Powered Games.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. First time chatter. Yeah, this is the KDM simulator. Not sure if you have access to it, but glad to see another monster fan here. Okay, we're doing the prologue. We just started. Brand new People of the Lantern campaign. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
I wonder if there's a way for Frankie and Mia to press a button to roll the dice. That way they can.
I'm sure we could come up with something. Anyways, we just started the prologue fight, so we're gonna roll dice. Right, so again, 2s or better are what the white lion needs to hit Johann. Well, we got 1.
And we got
a lantern 10.
Yeah.
So for at this time, this early on in the campaign, there's not going to be really much of effect in terms of like a natural 10 on either the monsters or the survivors, but eventually that'll mean something. Yeah, the white lion. This is the tutorial white lion too. This is not even level 1. This is tutorial. Okay, so the white lion has hit Johann, right? We need to determine what part of the body got hit, and that's where these hit location dice come in, right?
Yep.
So let's see. We could even do a little thing with the simulator like this. Watch this. Ooh.
I don't have sound.
Yeah, it's fine. We hit the feet. So what we do is that 1 hit went to the feet. We know that the attack deals 1 damage, right? If we look on Johann's survivor sheet, we could see that Johann doesn't have any armor on his legs. So it proceeds right to a light injury per point of damage that is done. He only took 1 point, so we're bubbling in L there, right? That represents that he took damage. Now, fortunately, because Johann was selected as the monster controller, we get something called insanity. Insanity is is armor for the brain, really. There's a lot of things that can affect you mentally. A lot of the horrors in this game can mess with you pretty badly. And insanity helps protect you against those kinds of threats. Okay? Now, this thing that you may have seen here, if your insanity is 3+, you are insane. It doesn't mean that like you lose control of yourself. It just means that for certain actions, you'll not be likely to take a logical path because you have 3+ insanity. Okay. So put that there. All right, so that's the monster's turn. The white lion has resolved its attack. It's now the survivor's go. Now, when it's the survivor's turn, they can go in any order that they want, right? What they can do is that each of them will have to take their turn to completion. Each survivor will get a move and an action. So very similar to like D&D 5th edition, where you get 1 move and 1 action. It's almost identical in the game Monster. Now, eventually you'll have other ways to spend your move, but for the most part, most survivors will use their activation to activate their weapon. And this is going to read similarly to how the monster's attack profile was read, right? Speed 2, accuracy 7+, and then +1 to 1. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but all right. So let's have Maya control her survivors 1 and 2.
Can you please survivor 1 right behind his butt?
Okay, so right behind the butt.
Yes.
Like this?
Yes. Well, yeah, facing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So would you like to roll?
Yes, I would like to roll.
All right. Let's make sure you get. So the way that Twitch chat can also partake with us. Where's your browser on this
You
thing?
can control one of the survivors and roll.
So there is this website. Yes, +1 accuracy. Thank you, Wind Powered Gaming. Do you stream?
Yes, nice. You know the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. So we have. We're about to get with it. If you would like to join us in controlling one of the survivors, you're more than welcome to. Let me give you the website.
Okay, should I wait?
Yes, you can. There you go. So I have that up. If you join that website, enter in your name, you could. Oh, okay. So she rolled a 9.
My.
Nice.
Almost perfect. Almost a critical.
Almost a perfect hit, as it's called. Nice. That's the website that we'll use. I know there are dice bots in Twitch, but this is kind of an easier way to handle that. Okay. So we caused a hit. And thank you for pointing that out, Wind Powered Games. Yes, when you are in what's considered the monster's blind spot, often it's directly behind the monster, you get a +1 bonus to that accuracy roll. So typically she would need it to 7 or more to hit the white lion. In this case, because she's in the blind spot, she gets a +1 bonus. That's a 6 or more. Okay, so when we hit the monster doesn't have hit location dice. What it does, it has a hit location deck, which determines what part of the monster that we hit. So every time we hit a monster, we'll draw a card.
Oh, it has a failure thing. Dodo.
And read what it does. So the way this reads is that there's usually like a top part and the potential bottom part. We still have to roll to wound the monster. The monster has a toughness value of 6, and thanks to what's called the Foundation Stone's strength modifier, we need a roll of 5 or better. But the big part that we need to worry about here is this text right here at the top. This R symbol means that it's a reaction, meaning that if we fail to wound the monster at this hit location, the monster is going to do this action that's provided in this text. Basically, it's going to attempt to swat her and hit her when she fails to wound. If she successfully wounds, the reaction's canceled, really. We don't have to worry about it. There's also a reaction on both. So if this says R reflex, it reacts regardless of whether we fail to wound or wounded. Okay? All right, so let's go back to our roll with dice. Let's see you roll again. You need a 5 or better.
Okay.
You rolled a 7.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
It's not a, it's not a perfect.
It's not perfect, and we'll get to that. The way we're kind of doing this is that we're explaining the rules as we...
It would have been nice.
Yeah, we'll explain the rules as we come across them. Okay, so when we wound a monster, the way we track that is that we just take the top card from the AI deck. So we draw face down and we place it on our wound stack. So basically what's happening is that as we injure the monster... Hey, the game doc.
Hey.
Oh, you stream. As we wound the monster will lose a portion of its moveset. Lies of P. No, Maya's interested in that one.
I am. I did the demo. I'm gonna get around to it.
Yeah, we're playing a board game called Kingdom Death Monster. Game doc. Yeah, you like it? Maya enjoyed the demo. Anyways. Alright, so we just caused a wound with Survivor 1. Now, Wind Powered Gaming, if you're still around, would like to control Survivor 2, you're more than welcome. I think I'm going to...
The demo is much larger than I expected. It was a pleasant surprise.
This is not Tabletop Simulator. This is... the game is available through Tabletop Simulator. This simulator is the one done by the actual company of the game. So this is the official simulator app.
And if you ask Danny really, really nicely, he might actually open up one of his prepackaged boxes and put the figures together and show you what they...
We'll talk about that, Wind Power. You're brand new to the channel. We could continue talking offline if you would like to join us on further.
Yes.
Survivor... There's Survivor 1, Survivor 2, Johan, and Samantha.
I would really like to play with my archivist.
That's just a model.
I know, I like it.
Oh, so you want to be Alistair. Okay, so Survivor 2. Okay.
So rename him.
Okay, so this is the characters, the iconic characters named. Yeah. Survivor 2.
Look, there are no attachments here.
Okay, well, Maya named Survivor 2. All right, so what I'm going to do...
I'm just saying anyone can meet their end at any moment on this game, so the less attachments, the better.
I think I'm going to... Either you should move Survivor 2, because I'm thinking if it reflexes and moves forward, then we're both going to get grabbed. So one of us, Johan or Survivor 2, should go next and just move out of the way, I think. We're not going to reach the blind spot. Only Samantha could reach the blind spot at this point.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
Survivor 2 is to right flank. Let me know if this is a good spot. Or if you want the backside. One more north. Okay. All right. That Roll with Friends website's available.
Join us.
If you need the link to join us, it should be... There's no... One of the things we liked about it is that there's no sign-in or anything. Just pop in your name. And you'll be able to... Eventually, we'll put in like a dice bot in chat so you could do it that way. I haven't found one that... or you could have me roll for you if you want.
But I like I like this.
Okay. You should try tapping the... Okay.
Not nice, I'm sorry.
3 and 4.
I'm sorry. For some reason I saw 7 and I'm like,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Okay, so 3 and 4. Unfortunately, 2 misses. We needed a 7s or better. Yep.
Well, at least there's no reaction, so that's always
All right.
plus.
All right.
Yeah, you could make it to the backside.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move left flank. Okay. And I whiff 2. 4 and 1. And then Samantha. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves to the backside.
Samantha and Survivor 1 are gonna get grabbed when this asshole turns around. I mean...
This is not going to be a PG stream because the content in this game is not PG.
So wait, so I can...
Okay, we got 2 hits. We got a 7 and a 9. Outstanding. Okay, so whenever we have multiple hits to one in one attack, we draw 1 hit card. Ooh.
Ooh, none of them have reactions.
Well, we draw... The art is very mature.
Fuzzy groin.
Yes.
Yeah, the fuzzy groin.
Okay, so whenever we have multiple hits from a survivor,
Fuzzy groin.
we draw 1 hit location card for each hit that we caused. And what we can do is that we can resolve these in any order that we want. Right? So if we wanted to hit the fuzzy groin first, we can. We want to hit the beast heel, we can. Typically, you'll want to resolve them in a way that you could actually make all of them. You'll see what I mean if we get further into that, where if like maybe one has a reflex that causes the monster to move, you'll want to typically resolve that last. Okay, so should we go for the ding dong right out of the gate?
Yeah.
It's a 10% chance to... This is going to go so poorly. Do it. Okay. Well, let's do... Actually, let's do Beast Heal. Because it's going to knock it down. Yes, I know it gets very... We've had the survivors die because of that. I still claim moral victory when that happens. Okay. Let's do Fuzzy Groin. Right in the ding dong. Oh! Okay, so we needed a 5 or better, so we didn't even wound it. So this goes right here. Yeah. All right. That'd have been so funny, though. I've had that happen, I think, 3 times in my years of playing it, where we've gotten the ding dong. Okay, Beast heal.
You should not say that around Frankie. He might get traumatized.
Okay, we did. We got a wound here. So 9, nice. Wasn't a crit, which would have been nice because we would have knocked the lion down. But we did cause a wound, so we draw this up, put another one in the wound stack. The monster loses another wound. Okay, and I believe that's everyone, right?
So now it's the
All right,
ding dong.
so now it's the monster's turn. Okay, so let's give the monster controller to Survivor 2.
Okay.
Right, so this is wind-powered games, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're now controlling the monster. So I'll draw the AI card for you. Terrifying roar. Okay. So in this case, the pick target tells us that all non-deaf survivors
Wow, that's
get targeted.
Cool.
It roars and basically, okay.
Knockback 6? That's not okay.
Yeah. This is all of us, yep. Okay. So let us do this. If you can, give us 4 d10s in the roll with friends, and then we'll assign them. Well, okay. So, I mean, is it, you could either do it or we could each do 1. I've always read that as like the monster controller makes the roll. Mm-hmm. By the way, we're not Kingdom Death experts. We have a bit of experience, but we're not like seasoned veterans like some of y'all are. Okay. So going from, I guess, left to right. Let's see, make sure I'm reading that correctly. Yep, 1 second. Yep, okay. 2, 1, 6. Well, in this case, you could blame the bias on the web app. I'm just saying, you know, it's not you that injured us, it's the web app that injured us. Okay. Okay, that's good to know. Rolling and choosing the attack target and position is entirely the monster controller. Okay. We'll keep that in mind from here on out then. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we're not experts. Anyways, so 2, 1, 6, 10. So it looks like 1 person, 2 or higher, yeah. It's going to be higher than everyone's courage. Yeah. Okay, 1 brain damage per monster level and knockback 6. So the one who got a 1, which would be Samantha, didn't get a 1, or got a 1, so it didn't hit her. But everyone else, Johan, Survivor 1 and Survivor 2,
got brain damage.
Yeah, everyone's at 0 at this stage because this is the first story.
So I have questions about brain damage. Does that go away before the next hunt, or is it permanent?
So the damage that's bubbled in that we see here and all tokens will be recovered and removed at the end of the fight. So assuming that we survive, even if we took like, you know, heavy arm damage like that gets erased.
But brain damage is different, or am I wrong?
No, brain damage is the same way.
Okay.
It's just nothing permanent that obviously goes away. So we only have 1 point available to protect our brain before it goes to...
Can we use it for survival to avoid or not?
Not on intimidates. Because this is affecting your... Yeah, only one of us has insanity to deduct, and that's Johan, because of the monster controller effect. Okay, but would you say that this applies to Survivor 2, though? Because technically you did target your own survivor? Let me know your thoughts on it. But for the others, I'll bubble it in. Samantha is immune. She got a 1. And Johan loses his point of insanity because that effectively protects his brain. But everyone but Samantha suffers knockback 6. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What am I missing?
What do you mean?
Hmm.
Okay, so this is more of an AoE, so you don't... Okay, that's fine. We'll have that not apply here. Okay, but we're still not done with that terrifying roar card, because now it says, after that effect, we perform basic action, target the furthest survivor in range. Now, this may...
That's between the three of us, isn't it?
We're equally distant. So I think at this point, Wind Powered Games, if you do target yourself, yes, you'll get the... And this is the basic action, which is just...
Move and attack.
well, closest survivor in field of view. A basic action, sorry about that. In field of view, no target sniff. Yeah. Closest survivor in field of view, so that actually won't...
That's gonna
It's
stay
not going to
at
hit
that.
anybody. It's going to sniff. The hit location?
Mm. Wait, I thought everybody except Samantha
Or the
were
AI.
equal. Quick
Okay,
one.
no, it overrides it. So we would target the furthest survivor in range.
So there's
That
three of
overrides the pick target.
Mhm.
But there's 3 of us that are equally distant. So it's up to you who you go after. It's going to be Johan, Survivor 1, or Survivor 2, which you control. Well, Samantha, if you got on the rolls that you made, Samantha got a 1. So she completely avoided the terrifying roar. Yep. She ignored the roll. Yeah. So it's up to you. If you target Survivor 2, I think that would give you the monster controller bonus +1 insanity. Yep. Who has the least damage? Between Johan, Survivor 1, and Survivor 2, I think we're all good. Johan has the most damage with 1 point in the leg.
But she doesn't have any brain damage like the rest of us.
Survivor 1 and Survivor 2, equal. Okay, Survivor 2 gets targeted. Put 1 there. Okay, so basic action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay. If you would like to roll, you can using the app, or we can roll it for you. Speed 2, accuracy 2, 1 damage. 5 and 6, 2 hits. Okay, now we can't really do hit locations on that app yet. Yep. So here's what we'll do. We'll have the app roll for us. 2 to hands. Yep.
Serious injury.
Okay, so Survivor 2 is here. So here we go. Because we have 1 point of damage for each arm, there's no protection, no armor in the arms. We go bubble and bubble, which does mean Survivor. Yep, and we're knocked down. Fortunately, it has a really neat little animation there. So because the survivor was knocked down by that damage, it's not, the survivors typically aren't considered threats when they're knocked down. Eventually there'll be rules that will change that, though, as we continue on the campaign. Okay, so that should be it, because there's no more after that from the terrifying roar. So now it is the survivor's turn. Okay, so again, this is the tough part because Survivor 2 will not be able to stand up until the end of the monster's next turn. So basically, Survivor 2 is kind of out here. Put this back over here. And so it's up to Samantha, Survivor 1, and Johan. Yes, that is correct. Survivor 2 will not have a turn until next round. Okay. So what do you say for Survivor? Yeah.
I am not gonna make it, obviously. Just move me as close as you can.
So keep in mind, so one other thing that we do have available to us is that while we can swing our weapon using our action, we could also spend our activation to utilize a second option on this particular weapon. Now, this only pertains to the Foundation Stone. Other weapons might have other effects that are listed on the board on their gear card as well. But what we can do is that when we spend our activation in this manner, not to attack with it, we can chuck this founding stone from anywhere on the board. We throw this card away. That's what archive means. That means it's gone from the campaign.
Forever.
Well, there are ways to get them back. They're just not easy. But we automatically hit and we automatically inflict a critical wound, which can be big. It can be like
Life-saving.
Yeah, life-saving. But the founding stone disappears. That doesn't mean that survivors are completely unable to fight. Even with no weapons whatsoever, there is something called Fist and Tooth, which does have some, not as good as a founding stone, but it is something there. So even if you do chuck this and you lose it, you still have a ways to fight. Okay?
But right now, she's not done.
So right now, there's not much that we can do except move. Here's the thing.
Double move.
No, we can't do that yet. There will be a point where we can dash. That is a survival action. We're not there yet. So here's what I'm thinking. We should probably assuming that we don't get the bad card that I'm thinking of, it's going to ignore Survivor 2.
Yeah.
So if we put ourselves like 8 spaces away, it's going to try to come after us.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, especially the first level White Lion. This is prologue, so it has a reduced AI deck, but so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like if we position ourselves like 8 away, it's going to be harder for it to move up to us.
Let's do
We
it.
can't move up to it anyway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As long as we're here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Samantha is going to move here. This should be 8 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Survivor 1, this is you, Maya.
Move me.
I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so you can go up to here. And none of us are gonna chuck the stone, right? Probably want to save that as much as we can. Okay. All right, so that's it. They can't really attack right now because we don't have anything that could, deal with this.
I like how they did scratches on the table.
Oh, the textures here.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, so Johan, Survivor 2, Maya, you are now the monster controller. So what this means is that you're going to help me resolve the AI card. So now it's the monster's turn. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what the monster's doing next. Okay, this is good.
It's me, obviously.
No. Closest threat. You're not a threat. You're knocked down. Or Survivor 2 is knocked down.
Yes, I'm a threat.
So this is what I was worried about. Yeah. Yeah, it's good for you because you're not going to be targeted. There is the bad card that I was thinking of. I think there is one that targets a knockdown survivor. All right, so closest threat facing in range. Well, closest threat is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'm at 9. So closest threat would be Samantha or Survivor 1. But it's not facing or in range. So that line doesn't apply. Closest threat in field of view is basically, outside of terrain blocking, is everything except the blind spot. So in this case, there is a pick target here. Closest threat in field of view.
I'll just pick Sniff. No, I'm kidding.
No, you can't do that because there is that second condition is there.
Okay,
So you as the monster controller can pick either Samantha or Survivor 2 to go
pick
after.
me, Survivor 1.
Okay. But here's the thing. Because of that little prep move, it's going to move and attack, but it's not going to be able to reach us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? And that's pretty good because here's the thing. If we look at the attack profile for this attack, yeah. Speed 1, so only 1 dice, 1 damage, but this always hits the head location. That's nasty. Because the head, starting off, we only have 1 point before it goes into severe injury. And head severe injuries are brutal. So fortunately, it looks like because of that special movement that we did, we were able, it could be insta-death on a bad roll. Fortunately, we were able to kind of avoid that by our special positioning here. Okay, so the monster can't really do anything else, and since there's nothing else that happens after the chomp, the monster basically just moves and wastes a turn. So because that's the end of the monster's turn, we're now going to stand up Survivor 2. Okay, and it is now the Survivor's turn. Okay. Let me put that away.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so let me put this back here. Okay. So, let's see here. Do you want to go, since you're like right there, you could reach the... Yeah. Survivor 2. Okay. Yeah, you can move into the... So
We both can move into the bot.
we'll have Wind Power go first. Okay. We'll need...
Roll.
Was that your roll just now? The 5 and the 6? 7 and 2. Okay.
You got it.
You got 1 hit. Outstanding. Okay, let's see what you hit. 1 hit. Beast's femur.
Hit him like Nancy Kerrigan.
Okay, you need a 5 or better. Oh, a 1.
Aww.
Big whiff. But at least there's no
Reflex.
reflex. Okay, so Survivor 2 or Survivor 1. You wanted to move there.
Yeah.
Same thing. You're going to need 2 rolls.
2 rolls.
Yeah, you're attacking twice. 6 and 1. So you do hit with the 6 because you are on the monster's blind spot.
Yeah.
Let's see what we get. Okay, Beast's tricep. All right, we're gonna need another roll, and this one has a reaction on a failure.
Yeah, I see it. Ooh.
Nice, you wounded the monster, so White Lion takes yet another
Lost and cards.
loss. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now it's Samantha and Johan.
They can't make it, can they? 1, 2, 3.
No, they won't be able to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I guess it's the best thing they could do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Okay.
Now the monster's turn. Wait, did you put 1 insanity for me? Or didn't I get it?
That was Survivor 1 that got it. So that was Survivor 1 got that. Okay. All right, so now I believe the monster controller goes back to me. I'm going to nominate Samantha for the pick target. Get that insanity. Okay, let's see what the monster does. Oh, no. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. Enraged. When this comes into play, draw an AI card. When Enraged is in play, the White Lion gains +1 damage token per monster level.
Yes.
So
But it's
every
0.
time.
Okay, it's level 0, so it shouldn't.
No, it doesn't work like that. You don't try to outmath the game. All right, so this is something a little bit different. This is called a mood card. So basically, this does kind of take a card out of the AI deck in terms of wounding, but it's still, if it goes back to the AI deck, then it's still like resolvable for like the wounds deck and whatnot. But if this is in play and there's no cards left when we need to cause the final wound, it counts as a wound against the White Lion. So, all right. So what this means is that for every time we read something like the damage on the White Lion's attack profiles, we add a 1 to that. And it's going to keep having this in play until it kills someone or they suffer the dismembered severe injury. Okay, so let's grab a token.
That token. Wait, so you're picking Samantha for its target? That's mean.
Okay. That's +1 damage. I like to put it like kind of next to it so I remember. All right. Where they should
I mean, if there's like a lion thing, is there a way
put it right there to
to
make it easier to remember. Okay. We still have to draw an AI card though. Okay, size up. Random threat in field of view. Okay. Now, fortunately, the damage token won't apply here because this is an intimidate. Okay, so random threat in field of view. The monster stares down at prey, turn and face the target, and roll a d10. On a result of 4+, the target suffers 1 brain damage per monster level and is knocked down.
Its level is 0 again.
No, it doesn't work like this.
It should.
Okay. So the monster controller is Samantha. It needs to pick a random. So what I'm going to do, if it's going to be random, I'll roll a d10 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how I'll do it.
I thought field of view we weren't in.
Oh, you're right. No. Wind powered. You're correct. In field of view, so it wouldn't apply to survivors 1 or 2. Thank you for that. Johan or Samantha. So 1 to 5, Johan. 6 to 10, Samantha. Okay, looks like Johan's taking it. I think Johan does have some. Johan does not. Okay, so Johan does not, but we need to still roll. Wait, what did I just roll?
You rolled
Roll a 2. So it didn't. It didn't actually. Oh no, that was the roll to pick. Sorry. This is now that we're targeting Johan. This is the roll to see if we actually cause the damage. 4 or better, we cause 1 point of damage. No, we don't. 2. So Johan is safe, and Johan stays standing. Johan is not knocked down.
Yay.
Nice. Okay. Snooze those ads.
Oh,
If we do have an ad break, we'll pause so we're not like continuing on.
I'll just play with the dog.
We have like the ads like turned down as much as we possibly can, so I think it's like only 30 seconds every 90 minutes. Okay. All right. So that's the monster's turn, right? I think it's our turn next. Right. So this is really good because we have 2 people right in the starting right in the blind spot. And actually, wait, it's.
You have to turn back.
Wait, no, Johan. It has to be this because it turned to face. So
That's fine.
yeah.
can move into
So.
we can still get to it. It's fine.
Do you want to go first then?
I mean, whichever one of us, both of us can get to it, so it's fine. I guess I'll go first if it makes things easier.
Okay, so you want to move to the blind spot? Okay. All right, let's get those 2 rolls. $10 and 4. Perfect hit.
And it's fuzzy growing. I want that
Yeah.
fuzzy thing.
Well, if it moves, it's probably going to grab Samantha. Okay, so what did you hit? You got one hit. Soft belly. Okay, so no reaction whatsoever. If we get another 10, it's going to be nice. Oh,
Got an 8.
we got an 8. That's still good. Okay, so because we caused a wound, there's no cards in the AI deck. What we do is that we basically turn this over, and I always shuffle, since it's going to... Well, what the game shuffles it for you. And then we draw face down, put it there. So we at least caused a hit. All right. All right, so that is Survivor 1. Now we have 2, Samantha and Johan. So Survivor 2, if you want to go, yep. All right, I was reading that. Gotcha. And we'll go with roll dice with friends to get your 2 attacks. Wow, 9 and 9.
Damn, good job.
Nice.
Oh, neat.
Ew.
Oh, that's BS.
Bad RNG. Okay. Well, hopefully you get 2 wounds. Go wind-powered games.
Yeah. Go for the one that gains -1 accuracy token. I think that would be nice.
Yeah, well, if you do miss, you'll only be able to cause 1 wound because the other one would move out of the way. Okay, let's see here. Okay, beast chest first. Yeah, okay, yep.
So what happened? They didn't-
Yeah, so here, wind powered rolled a 3, so unfortunately that means that it's going to react. Failure, full move monster forward in a straight line, cancel all hits not out of range. Any survivor passed over suffers grab. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It basically is going to stop at the end here. Because there's no way like you move the survivors off table. So let's...
But now you're at his backside. Isn't she knocked down?
Yeah, it's okay. All right, so because of that, we also don't resolve this one because now it's just completely out of... So 1 damage per monster level and is knocked down. Okay.
I maintain my previous
Okay,
position.
so... Yep. Where are we hitting? Hands. Sam's hands. Okay. Go arms. Fortunately, she's not, first point of damage there, so she's good. Okay. Let's try to see if we get... So that was Survivor 2. Survivor 1, you already went, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then it's just Johan at this point.
And Johan can get into the backside.
Yep, Johan can get to the backside. All right. Johan, hit. 1 hit. A 7. Let's see what we get.
Oh, can't move forward. No, it can't move forward.
It'll move along. Like if it's at the edge like that, it then like moves along the edge. Good. Poor Samantha. The only thing I could save her... Yeah, so reflex means that it's going to happen regardless of whether we wound or not wound. We fail to wound. Okay, so the only hope that we have for Samantha is if we cause a Lantern 10, a critical wound. A critical wound will cancel the reaction. So let's hope Let's hope.
Lantern.
Aw, nothing. All right. So it's gonna do the same exact move, full move, monster forward in a straight line. We're gonna have it go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's about 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's right here. Sam, since she was already grabbed, put her on this one. Knockdown. That's just the nature of this game, is that sometimes you could have fights that even with like really good gear, you just have just garbage rolls throughout the entire fight. And we need another point of damage on Sam. Oof, the head. Fortunately, she's already knocked down, so she's not going to get re-knocked down. Okay. Now, again, fortunately, being knocked down, she is not considered a threat. So that's a good thing. Okay. All right, I believe that's everyone's turn. So let's now go to the monster. So, controller. Let's have wind powered. You are now the monster controller. And let's now draw our next AI card. Now, keep in mind, the monster's enraged, so we're going to have a +1 damage to this. Closest threat facing in range. Closest threat in field of view. No target sniff. So closest threat facing in range does not apply. No threats if it's facing. Closest threat in field of view. That's going to be Johan. Yeah, that's definitely Johan. Okay. All right. And it's going to move and attack. 2, 2, and 2.
Damn.
Yeah, Johan's the only choice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you want him? Because it's going to be equal. Do you want north one or east one?
I would say north one. That way we can make it to him.
North. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to give us a roll for 2 speed, 2 accuracy, 2 damage? Let's hope they're low.
Yeah.
Okay. 4-1. Okay. So good. We got 4-1. Thank you for that. All right. So only 1 hit for 2 damage. Let's roll on the hit location to see if we waste.
Oh,
That's good. Good. Because Johan has not been hit in the waist yet. So Johan did take 2 points of damage to his waist. Yep. We still have armor. So what we're going to do is that we're going to reduce this to 0.
This line is a curve.
And then,
with his weird fine hands.
Right. So there's it.
Itself. We know what he's using those hands.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. We got another ad break coming in soon.
Hey, baby girl.
I think we just resolved that. Yeah, so why don't we take a short ad break?
Baby boy.
Let me just force it right now, and we'll resume in 30 seconds. So be right back. 30-second ad break. I can only snooze it for so long.
Honey, look at them. They're so sweet.
Ad break, ad break. All right.
Yeah, girl. Thank you, boy. You are both little poodles.
Ad break is over. Yay. Now it should give us another hour and change before we get the next ad break. Okay. So let's see here. We have monster resolved its actions, so we put this over here. All right, now it is the survivor's turn. Once again. Okay. All right, so let's see. Johan. Samantha's going to be out for this turn. She'll stand up. Well, Samantha should stand up this right now because the monster did go. Because she got knocked down during the survivor's turn.
Yeah, so she can get
Yeah,
out
so she's back up. Okay, here's what I think we should do. Survivor 2 and 1, you're kind of further to the north. All right, welcome back, Wind Powered. All right, so Samantha got knocked down during the survivor's turn. So because the White Lion just went, that is the end of the monster's next turn, Samantha is back up on her feet. But I think because of the positioning, I think we're going to have Johan move first and get behind the monster. And then Samantha will follow up if as long as the monster doesn't move. We'll go with 2 attacks. Ready? 2 attacks. 9 and 5. So we do get 1 hit. Beast's Knee.
Ooh.
Okay, nothing too special, but fortunately it's a safe hit location. And we got a wound. Nice. 6. So we'll draw face down, put in the wound stack. Okay, so Samantha can go next. She'll move up 5. 2 attacks. Whiff, whiff. So Survivor to Wind Powered, I think you'll be able to reach. You'll be able to get here. Right? That's the only spot that you'll be able to reach and still hit, whereas my Survivor 1 will come over here. So okay, so it just matters who wants to go first.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. So Wind Power, would you like to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll just place you. Yep. Wait, no. You're rolling. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm not rolling for you. Don't want that 2 there. Oh, just under. If you were in the blind spot, you would have been perfect. Okay, so 2 6s. All right, Maya. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yay.
It's a good thing that the White Lion doesn't have at least now it doesn't have any AoE attacks.
Okay. Rolling it. I
'Kay.
got 1.
You got 1 hit. Good. Beast's Ear. The White Lion. Ugh.
Oh crap.
Please wound it. Wound.
Stop. You're not helping. Stop.
Yay! Okay. Good. Because that would have sucked. For both Johan and Samantha. Okay, so draw.
Specifically away from the attacker without turning. It would be towards the edge of the board, not.
Well, yeah, you're right. It would have been safe. Yeah, actually, Maya's correct there. It would have turned and then jumped back. So yeah, so we would have been safe regardless. But I don't know if you saw that. That was the last card. I think it's just Claw now that the monster has at this point, which is really good because that means that I think we're 2 wounds away from defeating the White Lion. That's pretty good. Okay.
And we all still have our limbs and no.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're still pretty healthy, but let's not get too confident because that could change pretty quick. Yeah, it's just I believe it's just Claw at this point. Okay, so Survivor 2, Maya is now the monster controller.
Okay.
Okay, so what we need to do, we need to pick it up, flip it over.
Yep.
I can't even shuffle it. That's it. That's the last card. Okay. Claw. Closest threat facing in range. Closest threat in field of view.
You can pick me.
So it'd be closest threat in field of view. It would just be one, either you or Survivor 2 that would be eligible for that. So you're opting to hit yourself, which is good because you still have like full armor. It is 2 damage though, so we got to be careful.
I know.
All right, so let's get us a roll for 2 speed. So 2 dice rolls.
Oh, I'm sorry, Frankie. I'm sorry. It's okay, Frankie.
Yeah, so after
Guys,
the next wound that we cause will cause Claw to go to the wound stack,
it's okay.
at which point it just has its basic action.
Frankie, come here. Yeah, okay. Okay, baby.
It's still enraged too, so
Well, I enraged our kids.
yeah, we have 2 doggos. I don't know if you see that.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, but yeah, you forgive me.
Okay.
He burped.
Okay.
All right, I roll. 0. Oh no, 0 is done.
Well, you hit twice.
I mean, fuck.
5 and 3.
Mm.
Okay, so here's the dangerous part, because this is 2 damage apiece. What are we hitting? Ooh. No. Okay, so both went to chest.
I have no armor,
So-
and it's 4 points of damage.
You do get 1 sanity for targeting yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I use
So-
my survival?
So yes, we're gonna get to that. Okay, so the first hit, so you took 2 hits. Each one does 2 points of damage. So the first one would do, there's no armor in the body, right? So we would do bubble in light, bubble in heavy, that would knock you down. The next one would take, because you're already bubbled in heavy, that would take you to severe injury on the chest, and that's nasty. There's a good chance that you'll just outright die if your roll sucks enough.
So I
How-
have to spend my survival.
However, yes, you can negate one of those hits by spending your point of survival, which she will do. So by spending her survival, she will negate one of those 2 hits for 2 points of damage each. It still leaves her knocked down, but at the very least, it's preventing her from going to severe injury. Yeah, so that's, again, the survival, very, very important mechanism that we'll need to use. Okay, so that is Survivor. No, that was the monster.
Now it's our turn again.
Okay, so now it's our turn again.
Well, it was my turn. Wasn't it? Or was it the monster?
No, it was
it
the monster's turn, because we just made you the survivor, the monster controller. Put that back there. Okay, now it's the survivor's turn. Survivor 1 is going to be out of action because she's knocked down, but we still have Survivors 2, Johan, and Samantha. Survivor 2 would be able to reach around and get to the lion's backside.
Okay, let's do it.
We could also have Johan and Samantha do the same thing.
I'm surprised they haven't had a monster rectum thing. For the founding stone finds its way into the...
Well, fortunately, it's not. I'm only worried about reactions because the AI cards themselves, they're not going to do anything significant here. Okay, so I think what we're going to do, I'll have Johan move first. Right there. Okay, so I need 6s. We got 1 hit. Okay, snarling, the monster swats at the attacker. Attacker suffers 1 brain damage, perform basic action targeting the attacker. Not great. So let's just see if this wounds or not. It does wound. So we'll first... So that's bye-bye claw. So that's it. So the next wound will kill the monster. We still have to resolve this, though. Right? We almost got a critical there. That would have been nice. 1 brain damage and basic action against Johann. So let's go to Johann. 1 brain damage. Right? We are there we go. And a basic action, 2 speed, 2 accuracy. And that does make him turn around.
Am I still the monster controller?
No.
Ooh.
Hands. Now this, okay, no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Whew. So this will go to severe injury because Johann was attacking. There is a rule that you cannot use survival actions typically when you're attacking. So because this is happening during a reaction, unfortunately, Johann will not be able to dodge. So 2 damage, 2 hits to the arms. So the first one is going to there, and we are going to a severe injury because of this. Johann, no. Yeah, so that's a rule that you cannot use actions like that to when you're attacking. All right, so we are at arms. So just to give you an idea of what we're facing here.
I guess we're
Ugh.
die of shock. That's BS.
Hopefully, the higher the better. So let's get our special. Oh my god! All right, what do we get?
Oh my god! Die. Oh,
What's a 3?
you don't die.
Bleeding. Okay, no, that's good. Okay, bleeding is just 2 bleeding tokens.
Oh god, 4 you lose your arms.
Yeah, that's actually preferable here.
It's preferable to lose your arms?
Yeah, because tokens go away after the fight.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Right. So dismembered arm. Yeah. So the only one that this
Come here.
you just can't use 2-handed weapons with this one. As weird as that may sound.
there's the quality of life to consider.
Yeah.
I guess there is no quality in this
All
game.
right.
Mia, come here. No quality of life.
So I even made.
Mia, come here.
Look at that. 2 bleeding tokens. So a bleed token is something that accumulates on survivors throughout several. Okay, so you're gonna. Okay, yeah, we'll resolve that in just a second. Bleeding tokens represent accumulating injuries on a survivor. They could happen through a severe injury. They could happen through normal monster attacks. When a survivor accumulates a total of 5 bleeding tokens, they just outright die. Okay. And Wind Powered says that Survivor 2 is going next. Survivor 2 is using the Founding Stone to sling it and cause a crit. This will kill the monster, assuming... Okay, yeah. Well, this would have been interesting to resolve. Okay. So this kills the monster outright. It would have been funny if we gotten this earlier and that happened, but it dies on the next turn.
It dies one way or the other.
Yeah, it dies one way or the other. So the reason why we still drew a card there is that there is a special card. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's not experienced the game yet. There's a special card in each hit location deck that would have really made that not a fun thing to happen. All right, so the monster is dead. Yay! Thank you to you, Wind Powered Games, for helping us defeat the monster. So now,
well, we're not done.
We're not done. Correct. We still have to do. We do have to send this to the graveyard essentially. So we do lose that on Alistair, right? Okay. But now what we need to do is that we need to resolve the trophies, the victory, so to say, now that we've defeated the White Lion. So we go back to our story app, right? Mm-hmm. Turn that off. We could see that now this isn't written into this particular snippet, but we do get +1 hunt experience for defeating the White Lion. And we get 4 White Lion specific resource cards and 4 basic resource cards. Okay, we'll resolve that. So let's go back to the simulator.
Monster Hunter.
I mean, in a way, this game is like a combination of Monster Hunter and like the Darkest Dungeon, right? So yeah. I'll shuffle.
I don't know about the Darkest Dungeon.
The settlement building?
I guess, yeah.
Right? All right, so I will draw 4 Eye of Cat. Shimmering Mane.
Ooh. Is anybody suffering from alopecia?
Well, that one I think we're saving.
Mm-hmm.
Great Cat Bones. And then 4 basic resources.
We need more bones.
Yeah, that's the problem.
What?
Oh, this is a mystery. It could be used as any.
Okay. Oh, good.
2 mysteries.
More
Nice.
weapons. Yay.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so this is like our spoils for what we defeated and what we received from the White Lion, right? Okay, so the next part is that we need to basically go into settlement phase. So the game consists of, every session can be broken down as essentially a lantern year. That's what the game calls it. Lantern years typically, on average, take anywhere from 1 to 3 hours actual time to resolve. Then it comprises of a settlement phase, a hunt phase, and a showdown phase. We just did the showdown phase. Now, the White Lion first story is kind of like Lantern Year 0, if you want to think of it that way. Now we're going into our first Lantern Year. Okay, so this basically kicks off the whole process. This is the settlement building process of the game, right? So the first thing that we want to do is that we want to set up the settlement. We have to give our settlement a name. And then we're going to go through the timeline. You can see that little wide board above us will be able to tell us all the actions that we need to do. And we'll use the story app to help us out here too. So do you have a name suggestion for the Wind Power? Do you have a name suggestion for the settlement? Otherwise, we're going to call it like Twitchville or something like that.
I would imagine a lot of the survivors would be.
Okay, we'll do Twitchville. Okay. All right. Twitchville. Yeah, you like that, huh? Okay. So we're going to go through this step by step, and we're going to use the story app to help us out to resolve what each step actually means. So we're going to first, the thing that we have to do was the end of the showdown phase. So the first thing that we want to do is we're going to want to remove all of our injuries. Right, so we uncheck all of that. All of the bleeding tokens that we have accumulated in our time, they go away. Right? So all of this is repaired. If a piece of armor was reduced to 0, it doesn't destroy the armor. It just makes it not usable for the rest of the fight. But we'll still be able to use that cloth armor to protect us in the future. So we're just erasing it for now because we're going to pool all of our resources together in just a moment. Okay. Let's make sure that... Let's now do... Okay, survivors return. So now we are here, and let us switch to the story app. Nope, let's get on the right side. Right? Okay, so in this story app, we see exactly what we are doing with here. This is the step that we just did. I'm not sure if it's super visible for the stream, but basically this is where the injuries and healed. All of those tokens that we just removed are removed. We're not going to remove the gear just yet because something an event could happen that could basically cause us to need that gear for a certain part of the event. Okay. The next step, we switch back to the simulator real quick, is that we gain endeavors. An endeavor is like, think of it like action economy for the settlement phase. Most actions within the settlement require an endeavor to do the thing you're trying to do. And when we start off, we'll get 1 endeavor per returning survivor. So because we have 4 full returning survivors, we get 4 endeavors. Right? Okay, so let's switch back to the story app. Okay. Now we have to update the timeline. We'll draw a settlement event. A settlement event card will be drawn every settlement phase. And some of them are pre-programmed. In this case, the first one is called First Day. We will always get this settlement event on our very first lantern year. Okay. This is maybe a little bit hard to read for the folks on stream, but basically, the survivors wander, drawn to a blooming light in the distance. They find the serene comfort of a towering pile of lanterns and a small collection of scared people. On a deep instinctual level, they know this area is safe, and they make it their home. We'll roll a d10 to determine the starting population and record those on the back of the settlement record sheet. Okay? So this determines our starting population for our settlement. On a roll of 1 to 3, we get 6 survivors, 4 to 6, 8 survivors, 7 plus 10 survivors. The more the merrier. So I'll do the roll for us. Let me
Go for it.
switch back to the simulator. All right, so this is for first day. 8. Nice. So we'll switch back to our story. So now we have 10 unnamed survivors plus the returning survivors. Okay, return to the settlement section of the first story and proceed to the returning survivors story event. There's that special icon, that story event icon here. Right? So we'll do that. Let's go back to... Well, actually, we don't need to go back to the simulator. We'll do... Whoa.
What?
Maximus Buddy, rate of 28.
Wow.
Yo, what's up, everyone?
How are you?
What's going on? That is a lot of people that you brought
Yes.
into our stream.
I don't.
We're
think
playing
you
a
ever
board
had-
game, everyone. It's called Kingdom Death Monster.
This is Frankie, if you can see him.
Well, they're not seeing anything right now. Hang on a sec. They're seeing the story app.
Oh.
Maxos, you need to let me know when the new season is for the Grim Dawn stuff, because that's when I'll start playing it again. How are you liking the 1.2 update? Yeah, it's a tabletop board game. Let me show you. So this is we just finished a hunt. We fought a vicious monster called the White Lion. Right? We've had someone join us in this adventure, brand new to the stream, and they helped us defeat it. It's really, really cool. Yeah, so this is a campaign style board game where you're going to be playing over a series of sessions, similar to like a D&D campaign. Anyway, so we just finished off with the hunt. We are now resolving. Oh. Okay.
What's happening?
Toma-san, thank you. You're one of the league developers.
Nice.
Nice. Oh, definitely. Well, thank you. Give you a follow too.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, Maximus is the one who actually introduced me to Grim Dawn League. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun playing it. Okay. All right, so back to what we were doing. So we are now also... I had a lot of fun with the Grim Dawn League. So we're back to the endeavors.
I'm
So we
really
just...
into the texture of this table. I really am.
Yeah. Well, let me switch you back. Let me switch you over to the actual thing that we're doing. Okay. So we're in the story app. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Did we roll for the survivor?
We rolled for survivors. So we got 10 starting survivors. So what I'll do is I'll just grab a few. We're not going to need more, but we're going to proceed to the returning survivors story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you so much. And thank you for your hard work on the Grim Dawn League. It really is amazing.
He really is into Grim Dawn.
Yeah, I got really into Grim Dawn thanks to the Grim Dawn League. And thanks to folks like Maximus who got me into it. So thank you for your hard work. It's much appreciated. Okay, so I drew some extra character sheets, got them prepared. All right, we need to complete now, according to the story, the settlement event, we need to do the story event returning survivors. So actually, let me make sure that the music is on. Save this.
Another
Okay.
day in the settlement.
Here we go. So returning survivors. There's a lot of story events, as you can see. We're going to do this one. Okay. So as the survivors have come back into this area, we approach this lantern horde, so to say, and we have to nominate a survivor that steps forward and gains +1 courage. They lead the other survivors into learning how to speak to one another. They discuss their situation and realize they must hunt to live, and we add the white lion to the quarry list on the settlement record sheet. I'll do that now while everyone... Okay, that's already added. You want to nominate? No, Johan. Okay. So we'll also have to build something called the innovation deck. Now, to speed things up, I've already done that, so we can just proceed to the next step, which is the glowing cinder. This is our first settlement location. If you're thinking from like a darkest dungeon, this is our first like thing that we could use to build other stuff, right? We also have to nominate, well, the same nominated survivor, in this case Johan, is also going to get +1 understanding, which extra stats that can be used in certain situations. So it looks like we're nominating Johan to be that first speaker. Now, the only downside to nominating Johan is that Johan, because they have to ponder the meaning of everything that they're saying, they will miss the next hunt event. Let me also make sure that we check off hunts. So courage, understanding for Johan. Okay, so... Okay. And let's put all of these other sheets over here. And then what we'll do is that we'll go through the rest of the phase and determine what we want to build. Alrighty. So there is something, I know that you're part of like Maximus's crew, KB. When we first get a survivor death, there are certain things that we have to decide as a settlement. What do we do when it comes to like when a person dies? What do we do when it comes to raising our children? So those are important decisions that the settlement will have to make. Okay. So let's go back here, go back to we've done this event. We'll go back to the settlement.
Another day in the settlement.
Okay, we'll go through each of these steps here. So we updated the timeline. We did the returning survivors story event. And now we update the death count. Fortunately, no one died during this particular hunt, so we don't have to worry about updating the death count. The first time someone dies in the settlement, we have to make a decision the next time we come across this particular step. Okay? Since no one died, we don't have to worry about that. Check milestone story events.
I don't think
we don't have any, really. And now the fun part, we get to the develop part. This is the building phase of our settlement process. Okay. So right now we don't have anything in terms of other locations to build. It's pretty common that we'll spend most of our endeavors building things like the bonesmith, the skinnery, and the organ grinder. And so chances are that's what, probably Wind is thinking the same thing. So we'll go ahead and I'll grab those cards out. So skinnery, organ grinder, and the bonesmith. So I'll grab those. I'm doing this in the simulator, so everyone... They are. But if we look at the simulator, right? Thank you for the follow, Islander. We have the lantern horde that you see here, right? We spent 3 endeavors to build these 3 settlement locations. The skinnery will provide us a way to build armor for our survivors. The organ grinder gives us a way to kind of give us like trinkets and consumables. And the bonesmith gives us a way to build weapons, right? So we'll use the gear that we've gotten from the White Lion to build some better gear, because the White Lion we fought was just the tutorial White Lion. The next hunt that we do will be a level 1 White Lion, which is a little bit tougher. Okay, so each building of the skinnery, the organ grinder, the bonesmith, that does cost an endeavor to do, so we will lose 3 endeavors. Right? We still have 1 endeavor to do something, and thank you for the follow, Wind. We still have 1 endeavor. I don't think that we could really do anything with it, though. We could potentially innovate, which would give us potentially new things. But let's do this. Okay. So let's also take a look at some of our innovations. Innovations are think of it like a skill tree or a feat tree for your settlement overall. We gain this one, which does a few things. We have a survival limit increase. So we talked about survival before. It's like that limited resource. If you play D&D, it's kind of like hero points that allow you to do something extraordinary in a time of dire circumstance, right? At this time, before we got this card, our survival limit was 1. We can only have 1 point of survival per survivor. This increases it to 2. So our survival limit cap is now 2 points. That's how many. That doesn't mean that survivors will automatically start off with 2 points. They have to still gain survival through some mechanism. But we have the increase. We also gain a new survival action called Encourage. So we saw how in the last fight, a number of our survivors got knocked down and it caused them to lose a turn. Using this Encourage survival action will allow them to stand up, which is pretty good because some monsters have special affinity to survivors who are knocked down. Okay, so let me update the settlement record sheet. And our returning survivors gain +1 survival. So that should be 2. And I know that Survivor 1 did spend a point, so we'll just update accordingly. Okay. Okay, I think at this point, the only thing that we have to do now is to create some weapons and armor, right? So let's take a look at our story app to help us create. So let's add some locations.
Another day in the settlement.
Come on. Let's do Skinnery, Bonesmith, Organ Grinder.
And 1 innovation?
I think language is already there. Oh, no, language is not there. Language is there. Thank you.
Another day in the settlement.
Okay, so this is an example. Actually, let me switch to the left side. I don't know. Wind? I did get the access a while ago. This is the first time we actually spun it up for streaming. I don't remember. It's been a while. So what we could see here is these are the options that we have to play with in terms of weapons we can make. Bone darts are really good because they are our first ranged option, really. We could attack up to 6 squares away. Now, again, keep in mind, that's cardinal. It's not diagonal. Now, the only downside when it comes to bone grade weapons is that a lot of them have the frail keyword. What that means is that if we draw a hit location and it's called it has the super dense trait, we will lose the weapon at the end of the attack. And that has happened to us in the past where we whack something we shouldn't have and we end up breaking the bone weapon. So the ones that are frail are the bone blade, the bone axe, and the darts. The dagger and the club are not frail. So those are a little bit more safer. Now I will say that the next White Lion is a bit tougher. Goblin bow? There is no goblin bow. At least not that I'm aware of. So the club is a good one. It is really, really strong. It's a 2-handed weapon. It has the trait of the keyword cumbersome, though. What that means is that we can't move and attack with it. We have to actually be standing literally next to the monster. We want to be standing literally next to the monster in order to use it. It is a very, very strong weapon. It's very powerful and makes wounding monsters really, really easy. There is no glass loot. Okay. So let's take stock of what resources that we have too, because we need to, it's based off of what, bone blades and axes. All right, so we could see this, right? We have up to 1, 2, 3 bone. And I'm going to say 3 high. I don't want to use that shimmering mane. Yeah, we might actually. So the stone nodes. We still have an endeavor. We could craft that with the endeavor. Yeah. So up to 3 bone. That's what we have. So what that means. Let me make sure it's on. Yeah. We can do 1 bone dagger. Well, one of every. We could. Do we have an organ? Eye of Cat would have to be used for the organ. We're going to keep making 3 weapons. We can make 3 weapons. The thing is that like it's going to consume all of our bone resources at this time. So that could either be like 3 bone daggers, 3 bone darts, or 1 bone club. We still have the founding stones too, so keep in mind, it's not like we're going to be completely without weapons here. What are your thoughts?
You know how I feel about the daggers.
Okay, so Maya's voting the daggers. So should we make 3 daggers?
I mean, the bone can make 2 daggers and a club.
No, that would require 5 bone. We only have 3.
Okay, 3 daggers it is.
No ranged options. You vote the sword. So the blade we can make. Yeah. So 1 dagger, 1 sword. Do you want to do... If we trade in the Eye of Cat, then we can do the axe as well. Dagger, blade, axe. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Is that good with you, Wind? Dagger, blade, axe. Okay, I think that's what we'll do. So I will 2, 3, and then Eye of Cat. Dagger, blade, axe. So I will draw those. Okay. And so that's for weapons. We have technically 4 hides, but one of them is the shimmering mane. I don't want to use that one. Let's take a look at the skinnery. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, Wind. We'll be back Thursday night, 9 p.m. for more Kingdom Death Monster. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time is our schedule for this. Love to have you back. Take care.
Yep.
Bye-bye. All right. So we can go... So I would think that the rawhide headband and rawhide vest are a good starting point because one of the things that the rawhide headband gives us is a special ability if we complete something called a blue affinity. That affinity is this little blue thing right here that you see, right? If we match it to another icon that another gear card that has the same kind of blue affinity thing, and it makes a whole box, that gives us 1 blue affinity. And this headband gives us the ability to see the top 2 cards in the AI deck and place them back on top of the deck in any order. So it does give us some degree of control over what the monster can do, which is really, really good. Okay. So what we can do, we can make rawhide headband, gloves, and vest. And that gives... that'll also give us 1 evasion, too. Evasion makes it harder for the monsters to hit us. So like you saw how a lot of the attacks that the White Lion did, it needed a 2 or better in order to hit. Plus 1 evasion would make it a 3 or better. So do you want to make 3 of these and then put it on 1 person? the headband and the vest need to go on one person in order to get the ability.
No, I get that. Alright, fine, let's do 3 of these.
Okay, so we'll archive 2. Or do you want to hold on to the white fur? Because we might use it later on.
Okay, let's hold on.
Let's hold on to the white fur. I'll get the parts and the vest. Okay. And the last thing, so resources-wise, starting off Maximus, they are all the same, but over time as the story progresses, events happen, they will get things that make them stronger or faster or make it easier for them to crit and whatnot. But this early, we just started. We are in Lantern Year 1 of potentially over 30. So not yet. We're like level 1 on Grim Dawn. You don't have much options. Hi, Islander. We have never played. We know of it. Gloomhaven and Frosthaven. We have never played either of those. Okay. So I think the only thing that we have left is the organ grinder, and we could use our last endeavor to craft a stone nose, which on arrival, so whoever's carrying this is jewelry. Whoever's carrying this gets +1 survival and insanity at the start of the showdown. Okay, so why don't we do that? So I'll get that ready. And that's our last endeavor. Okay, so that's basically, we spent all of our, let me just do it on the right side. We spent all of our, okay. Yeah, we know of it. We'll definitely have to check it out if you're recommending it. Thanks for the recommendation. Some animal outside. All right.
You think there's an animal outside?
I heard something weird. Okay, so we are now ready to prepare our departing survivors. If we look back at the simulator, we are now at this step, right? Mm-hmm. Prepare departing survivors. This is where we gear up. We select 4 survivors to go on the next hunt. We gear them up, and we set them off on a hunt. We also end the settlement phase that way too. All right, so what we'll do, so we have to pick 4. Let's unassign everyone. Take off everyone's gear, because we basically put all of our gear here. Okay. All right, so here's all the gear that we get to work with now. We have a bit more options in terms of gearing up our survivors, right? We still have all the armor from before, still have all the weapons from before, but we have a few new additions now. We still have to pick up to 3 of our existing survivors, or several of the new ones. The only one who cannot go on this next hunt is Johan. Because Johan spoke the first words, he has to actually sit out this hunt event. So we'll put this way. So who do you want some of the existing ones to go with us?
Yeah. I'd like maybe at least 2 and 2, or...
Okay, so it seems like, so you want Survivor... Let's see. Let's do Survivor 2 survival. Let's take Samantha. And we need... we could take Survivor 1, but... You want to bring new ones, or...
Yeah.
No, actually, Survivor 1, sorry. So we'll take 3 of our original survivors, and we'll take on somebody brand spanking new. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we're taking 3 to 1?
Yeah, so let's see. Let's get all of our heroes.
Are we doing Cupid? Are we gonna play more?
We're gonna do the hunt phase, and then we're gonna see where we are. Yeah, we're gonna do at least the hunt phase, and then we'll. Yeah, throwing a newbie into the fire. All right, so let's do this. This is Samantha. Let's do.
Is it okay if I use the bathroom quickly?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll be right
Survivor 1, and we need somebody. We need a name for the newbie survivor. Anyone be so courteous as to give us a name for this brand spanking new survivor that's going to go on the hunt. Now you need to tell us if this is a male or a female. So combat works in turns. This is a board game after all. Basically, the monster will have a stack of cards that tells us what the monster is going to do every turn, right? There's rules about how the monster will target which survivor it's going to attack. So like if we draw 1 right here. So like when the monster takes its turn, it's going to draw an AI card like this. And then we pick the target based off of its conditions. So in this case, it has to fulfill each condition in that line in order for that survivor to become the target. Once it's picked its target, it's then going to move to what's called its attack profile, and it's going to roll dice and whatnot to determine if it hits and what location it hit. So that's basically how it works. And the survivors have something similar. Okay. I'm probably Leovinus. It's an interesting name. Thank you for that suggestion. Since we named our survivor, we get +1 survival. Survival is like raw determination and will to live. It could be used for special survival mechanisms. We did get encouraged, so I'll mark that too. Okay. All right, so here's what we'll do. So we'll now assign the character sheets. Mia. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to gear up our survivors and get ready to go on a hunt.
You licked your butt.
Okay. All right. Paying attention?
I mean, I'm trying.
You're getting molested by our dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's all the gear that we have available to give to our hunt, to give our survivors. Everyone's going to get the cloth, right? And so I'll put that on everyone's.
I've been attacked. I've been attacked. I have to wash my face.
All right.
Me, I love you, bro.
Except for one, because Wynn did use his founding stone in the last fight, so we're gonna have to give.
Forever?
Yes. We have 3 founding stones, so we're gonna definitely need a weapon on one of them. So let's see. That is.
Okay,
There.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go wash
So
my face.
the game is designed around 4 survivors. There are rule variants for 5 or 6, but the monsters get tougher and stronger if you're using 5 or 6 survivors.
So, I thought you were gonna end at 11 because we had a thing.
Yeah, we're gonna go the hunt first. All right.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking, let's do the axe on the one on Survivor 1. Doesn't have a weapon. Let's do
Where's Mommy's shoes?
Survivor 2 has our armor, and you can see how this works, right? In terms of affinity. Now that we have a full blue square that's a blue affinity, Survivor number 2 will be able to use this ability to kind of peek at the monster's AI deck to determine what it's going to do next. And let's see, the bone blade. Let's give it to Leo. So Leo has the bone blade. And the bone daggers, let's give it to Lucy. Because chances are, like, Survivor 2 could just use this ability every single turn if they want to. So I think we've geared them all up. Oh, we still need stone noses. Let's see who has the lowest survival and insanity. That would be, well, there's a few. Let's give it to Leo. Okay. So we've prepared we're going to note and record our resources, which is just, this is what's left, shimmering mane and white fur. And we're going to end the settlement phase. So this is what's going to happen next. We are going to go on a hunt. Let me just do this real quick.
Are we gonna complete the hunt?
We're going to complete the hunt, and we're going to stop at the beginning of the showdown.
Okay.
Okay? So let me make sure.
Is it okay if I use the bathroom?
Yeah, go ahead. All right, so here's how this is going to work.
Day in the settlement.
We are starting the hunt event.
The hunt begins.
You can see what our selections are. At this time, you can only hunt a level 1 white lion. So this is the hunt phase of the game. The way this works is that these survivors start on the beginning of the hunt phase board, and depending on the level of the quarry, is going to determine their placement on the hunt board. So the level 1 white lion is here. Every turn, we're going to move one step closer and reveal a hunt event. Survivors will take turns being the event revealer, and there could be positive things that can happen or negative things that happen. Survivors can die during this phase too. Once they reach the square that the quarry is on, that begins the showdown. Okay?
There are some exceptions to this.
Okay, so let's move first. As far as who is going to be our first event revealer, let it be survivor number 1.
For me?
Okay? Our first event, lion sculpture. A crudely arranged effigy stands before the survivors, decorated with small metal trinkets, human fingers, and stuffed with dried tall grass. The quarry's sculpture confounds the survivors. The survivors gaze at the arrangement, attempting to glean the substance of the white lion's bizarre inhuman intelligence. Each survivor gains +1 understanding and +1 insanity.
Ooh, that's not nice.
So that is actually pretty good.
What does understanding do?
It increases your wisdom.
Whoa.
You know, it's overall wisdom and intelligence. Courage is like bravery and whatnot. There's not a ton of stuff that impacts it, but eventually you'll occasionally see, if you have +1 understanding or. So insanity is armor for the brain, right? So you have like head armor, so I could wear a cap on my head that protects my head. But what about like mental damage, right? That's what insanity is for. Psychological damage. Sometimes the white lion, for example, can roar, and that could be such a terrifying thing that can cause injury to you. Insanity is a way to protect the survivor against that. If you have 3 or more insanity, you are considered insane. That doesn't mean that you just attack randomly or anything like that. It just means that certain events will say that if you're insane, you do this action instead. So while we're doing that, while I'm annotating all of that information on our character sheets. So the understanding, we still have to roll a hunt event. So let's do that. Okay, survivor 1 is the event revealer. Amidst the endless stone faces, the event revealer. In some circumstances, it is a bad thing to have a high insanity. We might see it here, like if an event says, if you're insane, you're going to do this action instead. There could be a negative consequence for it. Could be positive too, All right. Amidst the endless stone faces, the event revealer notices an unusual object on the ground. The event revealer investigates and rolls a 1d10. The settlement has records. Add +6 to their results. Okay. I will roll for the survivor number 1. Where's my dice? I'll just use this d10. Okay, here we go. 1d10. 1.
+6.
No, we don't have records.
Aww,
Good.
that would have been so good.
You find a weathered purple stone with a swirling texture. It's shockingly heavy. Mesmerized by the stone, you hide it from the other survivors. Gain the secretive disorder and -1 movement token from lugging the stone around.
Wow.
So, if we were looking at the simulator,
Secretive disorder.
let's see what this says. You love secrets so much, in fact, that you pretend to have many. When you are a returning survivor, you quickly become preoccupied with your own affairs. You must skip the next hunt to deal with them. That's not terrible.
Yeah.
There are definitely worse ones out there.
Yeah. It's not bad though.
Okay, definitely
Like,
worse
some
ones.
Movement is sucky, but
Yeah, well, that's a movement token, so let's also get that too. Yeah, so what that means is that if we use this, Survivor 1 goes on a hunt, they have to skip the next hunt event. We can't use them again. So that does kind of suck, but it, like I said, in terms of disorders, there's way worse out there. So let's secretive. Okay, and we'll archive this. Okay, going back to the story event, or the hunt event. Okay. And we don't even get anything out of it, right? All right, so once we resolved all of the events, we then select another survivor to be the event revealer. Or we could use the same one. Let's make Samantha the next event revealer. Okay, Sam will be the next event revealer. I'm just changing some things over here. Okay. Moving again. Sea of golden grass. Fields of golden grass lay ahead. The event revealer may choose to avoid the plains and roll twice on the hunt event table before moving on the hunt board. Otherwise, each survivor gains +1 courage and the event revealer rolls on the table. Let me show this to Maya.
I can't see it.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. So we're going to do the otherwise here because we need the courage.
Okay. So we get.
So everyone but Samantha will get courage, which is important because remember that roar?
Yeah.
It's if it has more courage than you. If its level is more courage than you. No. I didn't roll on the... Ah! Let me see. Let me pull up that card again. I clicked away too fast. Alright, so let me mark down the... Let me start a 30-second ad break while I'm pulling up the cards. And I'll also add the courage. Ad break. Okay, so we should be back. Now we need to do a D10 for the Sea of Golden Grass event.
Okay, so who's gonna roll?
I will roll. Back in the Survivor Simulator app. Here we go.
I don't see the roll.
Oh no, it's a 1. This is
Oh
terrible.
no.
Their quarry was stalking in the grass. Begin the showdown immediately. The monster ambushes the survivors.
Well, I guess we're done with the hunt phase.
All right. That's no good.
No, it's not.
Okay, so this is basically what happens. Ambush means that the monster takes basically 2 first turns, or 2 turns. Yeah, so here's basically what happens, and this triggers the story event, Showdown, White Lion.
There once was a beast that wanted to feel how soft its fur was. Since it could not reach its own back, it killed many other creatures and spent time rubbing its paws over them. They say that when the monster finally killed a human, it fell in love with their soft hair, and its paws grew into a pair of fine human hands.
Okay. So this setup is going to be slightly different in terms of when compared to the first story White Lion. Right? It's also going to be slightly tougher. You might see on the bottom left-hand corner of the story app, like right around here, may be difficult to see on stream, but it has a toughness of 8, so it's actually 2 points tougher than the first story White Lion. It also is going to have a normal AI deck. The first story White Lion had a special kind of like weakened deck.
Ooh.
Okay. For the setup, the rules are still the same. We still have to set up exactly 6 squares away from the White Lion. But if we switch over to our simulator app, this is one of the cool things about the simulator app, right? If I want to set up a new White Lion showdown, it's just a matter of doing this. Set up, showdown, level 1, confirm. Okay. So it actually picks out terrain cards for us because those things are now going to be put into play. I don't see the terrain cards here, so let me just quickly grab that. The terrain, where is the terrain? Did I put it to the side? Where are my terrain cards? They're in here somewhere. It's just they might be so small. Armor sets, basic hunt, special hunt, butcher. Huh. Well, anyways, we'll find the terrain cards. But what you'll see here is that there's a way that you could stand in the grass as a survivor and have extra evasion from attacks from the White Lion while you're standing in the grass. That's like the biggest one that you want from here. Let me see if I just re-roll this. Maybe the terrain cards will come out. There we go. I don't know why I didn't do it before. Okay. So this is all randomized. Every time we do a showdown with a quarry, we have a chance to get terrain cards. In this case here, you could see by standing in the tall grass, we get extra evasion, so we get some protection against the monster's attacks. In this case, there is debris that we could potentially find something. Oh, look at this. We could potentially find Bone Blade in this.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Yeah. And then we have an ore vein too.
Ooh.
Nice. A little bit of resource farming while we're hunting. Okay. Let me make sure you are seeing this. Okay. So we'll still have to set up our survivors. We're not going to place them exactly there because we still have the ability to pick where we're deployed, even when we're ambushed. So, but we'll save that for another time. We'll be back on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time to continue exactly where we left off at the start of Lantern Year 1's showdown with a level 1 White Lion. Thank you so much for joining us. Had a blast playing this and hope to see more people next time to play with us. Anyone is welcome to come by and help control survivors and roll with us. We have this nifty little thing, Roll with Friends, that I don't know if you got a chance to see that. You can be able to go to a web app and roll for us. We'll eventually add like a dice bot or something once we find an appropriate one. But that's it. Hope everyone enjoyed this. Like I said, we'll be back Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and let's see who we could send y'all to.
Yeah, Frankie, say bye. Say bye. Look at the camera. Look at the camera, guys. Yeah, look at the good girl. Look at the camera.
Night, Maximus, and thank you once again for the raid. Thanks for everyone who came on by.
My baby. My pretty girl. Frankie boy.
Okay.
Good girl.
I'm looking for somebody. The thing is that there's so few people playing this game.
Well, it's an expensive game.
Isn't it? It is an expensive game. Well, we're the only ones live playing it. Okay.
I know.
I don't think that we have anyone really to send it off to. That's okay. We might just end it right then and there, folks. Thank you once again for stopping on by. Again, we'll be back this Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time for more Kingdom Death Monster. Hope to all see you then. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Let our monsters say goodnight. Mia, say goodnight. Frankie?
Our little monsters will say goodnight. We say at the end of every stream, be safe, be happy, be wholesome.
And have a good night.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.